Welcome to Beyond the Next Chapter. As always, I am your host, Whitney Clark. If you've been on TikTok, you know their name. And now they are out with their debut novel. Joining us this week is Cait Jacobs. They're out with their first romantasy book, The Princess Knight. Jacobs is credited with helping start the BookTok phenomenon and also the Bookington Book Club. They also love theater, Dungeons and Dragons, and their dogs, and pet snake. And Cait, we're going to have to ask you about your pet snake. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Okay, what is your snake's name, first off?
So technically he kind of has two names. His official name is Jake from Snake Farm, but that's a mouthful, so we call him Loki. He's a
I,
little bit more trickster god than insurance salesman.
oh my gosh, I love that. That is clever in so many different ways, kind of also ties in with your last name as well. We love that. So thank you for being here. You are coming out with your debut novel, The Princess Knight. Tell readers what they can expect.
Yes, so The Princess Knight is my debut medieval fantasy. It's about a princess who's trying to win back the prince who ruined their betrothal arrangement that her kingdom desperately needs. So, in order to prove him wrong, because he said she wouldn't be strong enough to be his queen, she goes to a medieval military academy where she trains with his best friend, who she feels strangely drawn to, and they discover some threats to both of their kingdoms that will put their skills and their hearts to the test.
Wow. Okay, what are their names? Tell us a little bit about the main characters.
Yeah, so it's dual point of view, and we're following the princess, who is Princess Clea. She is kind of a sweet, occasionally naive, but overall bubbly, optimistic princess who is very determined and stubborn to a fault. And then there's also Ronan, who is the prince, Prince Donal's best friend. Ronan is captain of the guard. He is ambitious and really determined to win the approval of this general that saved his life years ago, and that's why he finds himself at the academy.
How did you come up with this world and up with this story?
So I have always really loved Irish history and folklore, and that was a very big inspiration in this. In You'll see in the book, in both the names and the words used, it's very based off of a lot of Irish folklore and stuff like that. My grandmother and I were very close, and we both bonded over our love of Irish history and folklore. So this was kind of a way for me to channel that love a bit. And it's also a bit of my love of rom-coms. There's a lot of rom-com archetypes, and seeing what they would look like in a fantasy world and how that could be interpreted there.
So would you call this romantasy?
I think so. I Romantasy is such an interesting word because I think no one has like a definitive meaning. So I always worry because the romance is definitely very there. It's very prominent, but I do worry that like people who are expecting total romance and not as much political intrigue may be a little surprised. People might die, stuff might happen.
Okay. Okay, we like that. And it's hard because romantasy is a kind of a new genre, you know? I mean, it's only something that's popped up in the last couple years.
Yeah, it's very new and it's very broad. There's so many different kind of areas of romantasy. You can have really dark, really like very plot forward romantasy, or you can have like really cozy romantasy, very lighthearted and fun romantasy. So it's a very broad little subgenre that's coming up that I've been having so much fun exploring.
Is that your favorite genre? What is your favorite genre to read?
It probably has to be romantasy now. It always has been fantasy. I've like been tied between fantasy and romance, so romantasy has kind of taken over now as my favorite.
And we see all of the books behind you there, and I love this. I love this for you. How many books do you have?
I think I'm somewhere around 3,500, maybe 3,600.
Wow. And how long has it taken you to get this collection?
Some of these books have been books I got when I was a child, but I would say I really started devoting myself to collecting books when I was in middle school and high school. So probably around 14 years of collecting right now.
Wow. And how many of them have you read, you think?
Probably only half. I have a lot of duplicates, so that throws it off too, because a lot of my favorite books I'll have like four copies of, so makes the math a little harder.
And how do you acquire multiple copies? Do you see different versions, different covers? How has that worked for you?
I love collecting like different special editions
Mm.
or like different editions from different territories. Just they'll have different covers. Sometimes, they'll have sprayed edges. So that will always, I love collecting all the different versions of some of my favorite books. It's very fun.
What does it feel like for you now to see your own book on that bookshelf behind you?
It's so surreal. I won't lie, I definitely cried.
Oh,
It has been a very full circle and like live stream type moment to be able to see it. And it's definitely very bizarre for me.
yeah. When did you decide that you wanted to write a book and that you were ready to do this?
I don't think I ever felt ready. That even now, I still don't feel ready, but I have always loved writing. Ever since I learned how to write, I was making little picture books. And probably in like middle school, I would try to write actual full-length novels that were awful. They were a bit of a mess, but I just kept trying. Every year, I would try to work on something new or to rework on something else. So there was never really a moment that I definitively decided that this is what I want to do. It was just something that was always a part of me, and I just hoped luck would work out for me and that maybe one day it would happen. But even if it didn't, I was still going to be doing it on my own just for myself.
Talk to me a little bit about your social media and about BookTok and how you got started sharing your reviews, sharing your love of books on social media.
Yeah, so like I mentioned, have always loved writing. I've always loved reading. And reading has always been just a huge part of my life and a huge escape for me growing up. And for me, I really loved the online book community. I always enjoyed being kind of a consumer of that type of content. And even when I was in high school, I tried so many different ways of getting into the community and nothing quite worked. I had a BookTube account, I tried Bookstagram, I tried all those little things, and it wasn't quite working out well for me. But eventually, I started a little book blog, and I was really just doing it for myself. I was working in a library at the time, and it was already in line with what I was doing. And then one day, the kids in my library were talking to me about TikTok, and this was in the early days of TikTok, and I didn't know too much about it, so I had them teach me more what it was like. And I decided to take some of the stuff that I was posting to my blog and just reformat it as videos. Book Talk wasn't really a thing then, and there wasn't really a lot of bookish accounts. This was back in 2019. And so I just wanted to see what would happen. I didn't expect anything to happen. I was very surprised when eventually something did. It was definitely, I thought I was kind of shouting out into the void. Did not expect to actually have anyone see it.
Wow. And I mean, how many followers do you have? How many views do you get? I mean, what is it like for you now sharing content on social media?
It's been absolutely a wild ride. So now I think I'm like a little over 300,000 followers on TikTok and just under 100,000 on Instagram. And it's been so, once again, just very surreal. It's all the things that I've enjoyed doing on my own. I would annoy my friends by talking about these things when maybe they didn't care quite as much as I did. So it's very nice to be able to find this community to share my love with. And I've made so many friends because of it. Like I have lifelong friends now because 5 years ago, 6 years ago, I posted a video on the internet. And it's truly changed my life for the better. The whole reason that this book is coming out is solely because of that. And I owe it to that community and for all of the support that they've given me.
What was the first video that you ever posted on TikTok?
Actually, so the first video I posted was a very stupid video. It was very silly. And it was completely unrelated to books. It was I just remember because back in the day, it was kind of an inside joke with me and some of the people who would join my live streams. It was just like a random video of like some decor in my house. But then I started posting actual book stuff. I was posting unboxings from book subscription boxes, and the first video that actually kind of got attention because for a while those videos were just being sent out to the void and no one was seeing them. But the first one that got attention was at the start of quarantine in 2020. I posted a video that was, I think, just rounding up some of my favorite releases from the year before that I thought people should pick up if they had the time all of a sudden. And that seemed to resonate with people and really everything kind of skyrocketed and grew from there.
Wow. overall, social media can be a positive place, negative place. You know what I mean? You can have kind of both types of experiences. How have you managed to keep it a positive experience for yourself without getting too wrapped up into some of the negativity that often comes with it?
I think it's definitely a challenge a lot of the time. I like to be very open about my mental health. It's something that's very important to me, and it's been a journey I've been on for the past 15 years of my life. And social media can make that journey a little bit more challenging sometimes. And also, additionally, as a queer person online, it can be very hard. Um, but for me, the things that have helped the most is making sure that I have like a circle of support, that I have the friends both on social media and off social media that I can talk to about things, and that I have some boundaries for myself. I used to not have those boundaries at all, and it was very rough for me. And I learned the hard way that having some boundaries, making sure there's time for myself, time not on social media, and not checking my notifications and being nervous about what's happening. I especially have really bad anxiety. And if I'm not looking at stuff, I will get nervous about what's happening. So I've been trying to work hard on making sure that I can look away and forcing myself to do that sometimes when I have to.
Wow. You can read my mind because I feel the same way. I get anxiety sometimes if I'm not on because I'm worried I'm
Mhm.
either missing something or I'm wondering what people are commenting on my videos or what people are saying. What advice would you have for people that are also trying to kind of set similar boundaries? Like what was something that really helped you?
For me, it was small steps, figuring out the small ways that I can kind of unplug when I needed to and trying to understand when I need it the most. I always like to look at both physiological and then also like thought processes that are happening that aren't ideal for me and when I know that it can be uh not helpful for me to be online. And then now I even have a rule where I set one day a week where I have all of my social media apps blocked on my phone. Every Saturday,
Wow.
um, we have a running joke in my household. It is the therapy mandated day off where I have no social media accessible and I just have to figure out something else to do. And that has kind of forced me to accept it.
I love that. I mean, I've tried to do the same things. I on my days off a couple weeks ago, I just deleted all my social media apps and I deleted them off my phone. And I tell you, I never felt better than I did in those 2 days. It's amazing, kind of what happens when
Mhm.
you just let your brain think and live in the moment and figure out what's in front of you because it can be so distracting.
It really can. I will have such a hard time focusing on what I'm reading, what I'm writing. So sometimes the days where it's physically impossible for me to open those apps is what I need.
Yeah, definitely. So, how did you go from book talk to being a published author? How did you get your first deal?
Yeah, so I was always very public on my accounts about The Princess Knight and in my editing journey with it. And I got very lucky that an editor at my publishing house saw one of my videos and reached out to me. And it was really just luck of the algorithm that got me to this place, and also the support and interest that people in my community had for my book that I think made it so it could get noticed. So that was back in around 2022, and we ended up selling the book then. And that was then the time for me to switch and be like, okay, this is actually happening, and start to pivot both like mentally and then in my accounts from more of a reader space to an author space.
So, did you come up with the story and write the book before you got the deal? So you already had it out there when it got noticed.
Yeah, so I wrote this book. I wrote the first draft in 2018.
Wow.
And for a while though, I did not even look at it because I was too afraid of touching it and editing it. But when I decided to go back and work on it, I documented my process of editing it online. And that was when I was reached out to by my publisher now.
Wow. What advice would you have for people who are listening this, watching this, thinking that they want to be doing what you're doing right now?
I think my biggest advice is to just keep trying and to not give up because you never know when stuff will happen. I think throughout my life, every single good thing that's happened has usually happened after I failed several times for a while first, and oftentimes happens when I most feel like giving up. So my biggest advice is just to always keep trying and always keep pushing and then find your community, whether it's your friends or your family. Find people to support you and help you through it that will help give you that motivation when you don't think you have it in yourself.
How different is the book readers are getting versus what you initially first wrote?
The initial version is wildly different. I made a lot of changes in between drafts. The first version was it was only Clea's point of view. It was the plot was a little different, and then I ended up doing a huge overhaul before I even got the deal. Um, that is where it started to shape up into what it is now. And there's been definitely a lot of different versions of it, a lot of different changes, different versions of these characters and the journeys they go on. There's even a key part of this book is discussing disability and chronic pain, and that wasn't something that came until that second draft that I was doing because that's when I was experiencing it for the first time myself. So it definitely was a completely different beast back then.
Tell me about you including a character who's dealing with something that people in the real world deal with and how you were able to incorporate that in the book.
Yeah, I think it was always very important to me. Like I mentioned, when it came with my mental health, it's been a struggle I've had for as long as I can remember, really. And it is something that's always been prevalent on my mind. And for a long time, when I was reading books, I wasn't seeing characters deal with disability in any way. And I think right now it's becoming so much more prevalent, which is so amazing to see. But it's still something I always wanted was to be able to include characters like me in that sense, who are dealing with struggles that I've dealt with, and have them still be the really tough, cool fantasy characters, or, be the really charming princess or whatever. I still wanted to see those characters still be those types of fantasy archetypes, but just also deal with a disability because it's not our entire life. It's not everything about us. It's just one facet. So it was very important to me when I was writing that.
I love that. And there really is something so true about how important it is to be seen. I mean, just being
Mhm.
seen and seeing yourself in books, I think is so important and so important for so many people.
Yeah, it was, I know it was something, growing up reading that was always so crucial for me. I used to annotate my books at any time I would see mentions of a queer character or a character dealing with mental health stuff. I would always like be tabbing that immediately when I was like 14 because I felt a little bit less alone just in seeing that.
Yeah, definitely. And I know that books help so many of us feel less alone. It's definitely one of the reasons why I love reading. What are some books that have really changed your life, have really influenced you?
There's so many. Um, let's see. I think for me, my brain is immediately going to Sits of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. It is one of the loves of my life. I adore that book. It was a book that I read in high school, and it was a book that dealt with characters dealing with PTSD and with physical disabilities, and that were still incredibly resilient and incredibly clever and smart and just fascinating characters to read about. And I felt so seen seeing that, and also queer characters in it. So that book meant the world to me, that, and it always will, I think.
Yeah. What are you reading now? What's like, I know you're busy, obviously. You're getting ready to release a book. You're going to be going on a book tour, but what are you reading now? What's a book that you've recently read and absolutely loved?
So I actually just finished We've Hit Turbulence by Jessica L. Cozy, which is a really cute and fun YA contemporary. It comes out in January, and I'm so excited for more people to read it because I had such a fun time. It's like a second chance romance. The yearning in that book is impeccable. I adored it.
I love second chance romance. That's actually my favorite trope.
It's such a good trope. I love it.
There's something just so nostalgic about it. I mean, I think everyone can relate to it to, kind of a certain extent. So I love that trope. What is a trope that you love that you would like to write about in the future?
Oh, that's a tough one. I feel like I got to check off some of my favorite tropes in The Princess Knight with like found family, and it's more of a strangers to friends to lovers, but there's a friends to lovers vibe. I think I would love to maybe write some more enemies to lovers.
Mm.
And possibly, I would love to play around with marriage of convenience as a trope. I feel like that's such a fun one.
Oh,
So
yeah.
those are some that I definitely have on my list.
And marriage of convenience, I feel like, isn't as common, right? Or
No,
is it?
it's very popular with like historical romance, but I feel like we need to get it more into the romantasy space. It's getting there, but I also will never think there's enough.
Yeah. Okay, so going back to romantasy, this is sort of a genre that is new in that it
Mhm.
has a name, but it is very popular. I mean,
Yes.
romance is one of the most popular genres, so is romantasy. What are some books, obviously yours, The Princess Knight, but what are some romantasy books you would recommend for people who are kind of just dipping their toe into this genre and maybe they want to get into it, but they don't know where to start because there are so many different books?
Oh, that's a great question. There are so many that I love. I'm like looking at my shelves now, being like, which ones do I pick?
Yeah.
I think Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross is an absolutely incredible, beautifully written book. We Hunt the Flame by House of Faisal is one of my all-time favorites. That also has great enemies to lovers and found family. Ooh, and those are both YA, but if you want more adult romantasy vibes, A River, wait, yes, I think we're gonna, yeah, A River of Golden Bones. I'm like trying to make sure I'm not saying the second
Okay.
title, the sequel instead of the first one. A River of Golden Bones by A.K. Mulford. It's queer, it's fun, it is such a great romantasy.
Okay, so tell me, because I see it behind you, because I've seen this book so many times. Divine Rituals, is that what it is, right?
Divine Rivals.
Divine Rivals. And then is there the sequel? There's a sequel too, right?
Yes,
Okay.
Ruthless Vows.
So I've seen that book all over the place. What about it do you love so much? You mentioned the writing is beautiful.
I think, yeah, it's so atmospheric and it felt like a very unique setting to read. It felt slightly a little bit more modern, a little bit more recent than a lot of romantasy you'll see now. And again, just the writing is lush and atmospheric and beautiful. And it's one of those books that I could not put down as I was reading it.
So going back to your, debut that's being released, I mean, how are you feeling to be putting your sort of heart and soul out into the world?
I'm both excited and terrified. I like to joke, I am the most anxious person, so I will find a way to be anxious about everything. So naturally, something like this, absolutely terrifying. But I'm also so thrilled and excited. It's been great. Right now, there are some advanced reader copies out. And so I've already gotten some messages from readers, which has been such an incredible experience and just things I never imagined actually happening. It's been truly amazing.
So you've been posting, your book reviews online since, COVID, since 2020, and you've blown
Mhm.
up on social media. Now that you're on sort of the author side, does it make you think differently about book reviews? I mean, are you nervous about scrolling on TikTok and seeing someone talking about your book?
I mean, I'm definitely nervous about just scrolling and, I've been jump scared by reviews of my own book and I just immediately scroll past. So that definitely is something I'm nervous about, but I do think it's so important to have that reader author boundary. I don't want anyone to be worried that I'm like spying in on their reviews, so I always scroll immediately unless they tag me and invite me in. But
Yeah.
I think honestly, being a reviewer first gave me some insight that has helped prepare me possibly a little bit more for this, in the sense that I know what it's like from the reviewer standpoint of what the different star ratings could mean and how, a 3-star review, that book could still be a book that I go back to all the time and that I love and lives rent free in my head. So I think that's helped me a little bit have a little bit more distance for any time I do get jump scared by a review, and I'm able to process it and distance myself a little bit better than if I hadn't had that experience in the past.
Yeah, that makes total sense. How do you review books? I mean, what does 3 stars mean for you when you give it 3 stars? I know everyone sort of has their different ways in which they do this.
So yeah, so for me, three star is kind of like my baseline where it would be the book is good, I enjoyed it, it's something I would recommend to people. But there's still maybe some flaws, something like it's not, I don't think any book is ever perfect, but certain books were maybe a little bit less memorable, and that's where 3 stars would land. But there are some 3-star books that I would go back to all the time that are honestly, I think back and I'm like, they're actually still kind of favorites of mine. But then from there, it's kind of, if it's for every star rating above 3 stars, it's just more about how it had an impact on me and how it affected me as a reader and just how much it stuck with me. I was always very subjective in my ratings of really just the impact it had on me.
I'm this sort of the same way with my reviews. 3 stars means I enjoyed it. Did I love it? Probably not. How
Mhm.
often do you give out 5 stars?
I feel like I'm pretty generous with my 5 stars. I I see a lot of people who say they don't give out 5 stars like for anything and that they maybe only have a handful of 5 star reads a year. For me, I will give out 5 stars if it met all of my expectations. If it was everything I wanted it to be, then that is a 5 star read. So I'm definitely generous with them.
I know we're talking about The Princess Knight today, but do you already have an idea for another book? Do you see this expanding into a sequel and a series?
So I like to say I left doors open. I don't know if that's something that we're going to do, if that's the path we're going to go down, but I did leave doors open for that one day because there's so much in this world that I would love to explore. Again, just my love of Irish folklore. There's so many things that I would love to kind of talk about and work into that universe, and it's just the perfect universe to do it. That said, I also am writing things completely different right now, just to explore other worlds and other characters and have some different, very different vibes
Mhm.
for other stories as well.
I love that. I love that. You got to switch it up. What advice would you have for someone that maybe they want to be on Book Talk? Maybe they want to start posting reviews, they want to start posting content, but they might be nervous or self conscious.
I think the biggest thing is just to post what makes you happy. For me, I get very nervous about posting even now. I can get so stressed and scared before I hit post. But I always try to remind myself, is this something that makes me happy that I'm going to want to look back on and like show to my friends or something like that? As long as it's something that brought me joy, then that can kind of help me get past hitting post. And I think that's the most important thing. No matter where you are, I wouldn't worry about no matter where you are in your content creating journey, I wouldn't worry about like camera quality or audio quality or backdrops. I would just worry about posting the things that bring you joy when you make them and when you hit post. And that's all that really matters in the end.
Yeah, because it can be so easy to get caught up in like, do I have the best camera? Some people have backgrounds that are beautiful, other people don't. That can be really
Hmm.
stressful in that world.
Yeah, and I've learned though that it's the videos where you put the least amount of effort in are the ones that usually do the best. So like I always tell people just like don't even care too much about any of that. Just worry about posting and having fun and saying the things you
Yeah.
want to say. And that's what'll resonate with people. Like no one's gonna care where you are or if the lighting is just right.
I know. And it's so funny because we get so wrapped up in that. And then it's always the videos that you don't think are going to do well that end up doing well, or vice versa.
Yep, I have had some videos where I'm just like, why is this what's getting the attention right now? But it's always so funny to me because I then just love seeing the different reactions to it. It's like something you'll make in like 5 seconds
Yeah.
and it'll hit, it'll resonate.
Yeah. I love that. Is there anything else you want readers to know as they're getting ready to pick up your book?
I think the biggest thing I want people to keep in mind and to be aware of as they get ready to put it up is to one, just have a fun time. Make sure that this it's supposed to be a fun and enjoyable read, and I really want people to have that with it. And then also to remember to be kind to themselves. I think that's one of the core themes in this book is something that I had to keep in mind when I was writing it. And I really hope that when readers are reading it, that's one of the things that they take away.
It can be really hard to be kind to yourself. How have you learned to do that in your own way?
I'm so bad at it. It's another running joke in my life is how the one thing that I'm confident in is not whenever like I'm mean to myself. That's the only time I'll ever be confident. But it's a conscious effort. It's not something that you can ever, for a lot of people, it's not something you can ever just be. It's sometimes it takes work and you have to constantly be reframing your thoughts and remembering to give yourself grace and to be kind to your body, to be patient with yourself. It's always constant effort.
Yeah, I love that. And do you still do everything yourself, like on your social media platforms? Do you edit everything? You shoot everything? You don't have anyone? Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. It takes a lot of work. People don't realize that.
It is a good chunk of my day is working on my content, but luckily it's something I love to do.
Yeah, I love that. All right. Well, thank you so much and congratulations on your debut.
Thank you.
And hopefully you'll be back again to talk about another book soon.
Thank you so much. It was so great talking with you.
Thank